מה פירס מורגן אומר על ישראל? האם ישראל הלכה רחוק מדי?
What's been very interesting watching your journey, Piers, as we move on to talk about Israel, is you, when October 7th happened, you were a defender of Israel's rights to defend itself and the war in Gaza. And your position has changed the longer the war has been conducted. Why is that?
Because I think what's going on now in Gaza is utterly unconscionable. I think it has nothing to do with the original war aims that they stated, which were to get the hostages back and to eliminate Hamas. Neither of those things have happened. Neither of those things are looking likely to happen. What is happening? Gaza is being completely destroyed. I mean, 70% has already been destroyed. The population has been crammed into various small areas now. And even as they queue for food on a daily basis, they're getting shot dead. And the IDF, every time, is 20, 30, 40 people queuing desperately for food. All they say is, A, we're giving them loads of food. So why are thousands of people stampeding? And secondly, they say, well, we just fired warning shots. We had a couple of people threaten us. We've launched an inquiry. We're doing an investigation. It's a familiar pattern. I got all the answers to all of these incidents at the aid queues. And it was very damning when I read it out to one of the pro-Israeli guests I had. So I think that you should believe people when they say what their intent is. Smotrich in the Israeli government, incredibly far right, along with Ben Gvir. And I think Netanyahu's gone this way too.
כשחמאס מתחפשים לאזרחים והולכים לבקש אוכל והם מאיימים על צה"ל, אז מן הסתם צה"ל, אם צריך, יירה בהם. ואת זה פירס לא אומר.
Right? That's clearly what they're trying to do now. That's a war crime. That's ethnic cleansing. So, yeah, I absolutely support Israel at the start of this with their, not just right, but their duty to defend Israelis from any further attacks by Hamas. Unquestionably. What happened on October 7th, one of the worst things I've ever had to report on in my life as a journalist. But that does not give them the license now, where we are right now, to just continue slaughtering so many children in particular.
אני לא מסכים איתו. נכון שהמלחמה הלכה רחוק, וכבר שנתיים, מי ציפה שמלחמה תהיה שנתיים. אבל הם מתעללים לנו בחטופים, עדיין לא החזירו אותם.
How could it not be that? I mean, given the scale of carnage in Gaza right now, how do they think Israel, the government, not the people, but how does the Israeli government think this is going to make anything safer for Israelis? It's not. Is it going to make life safer for Jews around the world? It's not. It's going to make it more dangerous. Have they got the hostages out? No. Is there indiscriminate bombing that's going on day after day after day after day?
Is that likely to end up with
other hostages of the remaining hostages who are alive?
לא תומכים בישראל. הם עושים הפגנות בכל העולם.
Are they going to be more at risk from this relentless bombing that's going on or not? I would say they are. So I just put it all together and I can't defend this. And I've noticed we're having more and more trouble getting pro-Israeli voices on who are prepared to actually unreservedly defend this. There are some, but a lot of the ones that were very vocal to start with no longer want to do it. And I just wonder what the average Israeli thinks about what is happening in their name. Because if this was happening here, I can assure you that the British people would not put up with it. They just would not accept this being done in their name. It is unconscionable, the scale of what's going on there. They are destroying the whole of Gaza, and they want to displace every Palestinian into neighboring Arab countries. I mean, I don't know what you two think of that, but are you comfortable with them doing that?
מה אתם חושבים? תרשמו למטה בתגובות.
מעניין לדעת מה אתם חושבים. The casualties that are happening. I don't think anybody is comfortable with that, Piers. It's obviously awful. I guess my question to you is, what should Israel do in this instance? Because you have Hamas, who are a terrorist organization, who are fundamentalist in their nature, who will not capitulate, who will not surrender, who are very happy and delighted, let's be honest, to put their own civilians and their own family members, in fact, in the way of fire. So you have an enemy that will not surrender at any point, who will always remain a direct threat to you. So what should Israel do in that instance?
Well, look at what they did with Hezbollah. You have a very similar ideology to Hamas.
זה להגיד, זה ממש פשוט להגיד דברים כאלה.
One of the most brilliant strategic military campaigns against a terror group ever seen.
כשעשינו משהו נגד חיזבאללה, זה היה משהו שכל העולם דיבר, אז הם חושבים שיש לנו את הסוג הזה נגד כולם. הם חושבים שאנחנו קוסמים, צה"ל קוסם.
Look at what they did with Iran. Right, they didn't just indiscriminately start bombing Tehran. They, again, had a very well-planned out campaign.
נכון, גם לא היה לנו שם חטופים, ולא איימו שם על החטופים.
Nuclear scientists, against the nuclear program, against nuclear sites.
ואם לא היה חטופים בעזה, אז
it was all over in 10 days.
היו מכריעים את החמאס מזמן.
World War III never happened. So Israel has unbelievable resources, militarily, intelligence through Mossad and others. No one can tell me that any of this makes sense. And I'll go back further to the start of all this. 2005-6, when Hamas are given, power in Gaza and Israel pulls out. From that moment on, Israel, through Netanyahu, funneled billions of dollars to Hamas, right? They used most of that money to build a very sophisticated underground tunnel system for 20 years. Then 3,000 of them on October the 7th pour over the border in 3 waves over a number of hours. They kill 1,200. They wound nearly 7,000. They kidnap over 250. How did Mossad not know any of this was going to happen?
זה פשוט
These are the
מטורף.
people that can put 3,000 pages in
אין לי
their
תשובה לזה.
hands. These are the people that can be so precise in Iran. So no one can tell me that this makes any sense.
So, Piers, what are you implying?
Well, what I'm implying is, I think what you're seeing in Gaza is a rage-fueled revenge for October the 7th. And I think that's exactly what Hamas wanted Israel to do. I think they lured Israel's government, knowing there were a bunch of very far-right hotheads, Ben-Gvir, Smodrich and others. I think they deliberately lured them into a trap.
לא מזכיר את העובדה שהחטופים עדיין לא החזירו אותם, ומה ישראל אמורה לעשות? על זה בדיוק הוא לא מדבר. הוא רק אומר, יש ארז בעזה. כולם יודעים שיש ארז בעזה.
But they lured them in with the scale of what they did, and Israel, to me, this Israeli government has fallen absolutely into the trap of responding in an over-emotional, rage-fueled manner, which has now led to indiscriminate, endless, ongoing carnage, which is making Israel more and more hated around the world. None of this, to me, makes any strategic sense in terms of how they could have responded to October the 7th and should have responded. Now, I don't have all the answers, right? I've had lots of other people who floated solutions and answers, but I do know that there's a lot of will on the part of countries like Saudi Arabia who want to do normalization of relations with the Abraham Accords with countries like Israel. But they can't do it when this is going on. This is putting back everything. And for what? What are they actually trying to achieve? And then it comes down to, are they actually trying to achieve the original aims they set out? I would argue, as I have done, that that's no longer a plausible argument. And I think we should take them at what they're saying. Smodrich has made it clear. He's a finance minister. He's not some insignificant member of the government. He's a leading driving force. He was on camera 3 weeks ago. We want to cleanse Gaza of all Palestinians. And if that happens, it will be one of the most grotesque war crimes of modern times. So the question for all of us is, what do we do about this? Right? Do you stay silent and watch this happen and literally watch Palestinians, 2 million of them, expelled from Gaza, never to come back? I mean, once you're gone, you're never coming back. And Israel to then take over that land? Is anybody happy with that? I'm not.